Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is Manoj Singh Rana with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says ASEAN's unity and centrality always important priority for India, asserts India-Asean relations withstood the test of time during the COVID period. Prime Minister to embark on a 5-day visit tonight to attend the 16th G20 Summit in Italy and World Leaders Summit of COP26 in United Kingdom. Supreme Court clears the way for National Testing Agency to declare results of Neet UG 2021 examination. Government extends COVID-19 restrictions in the country till 30th November. Over 104 crore doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. Recovery rate stands at 98.20%. Centre releases 44,000 crore rupees to states and union territories to meet GST compensation shortfall. India and ASEAN Development Bank signed $251 million loan for integrated urban flood management in Chennai. And in T20 Cricket World Cup, Australia clash against Sri Lanka in Super 12 match at Dubai. As India created history by administering 100 crore vaccine doses against COVID-19, All India Radio salutes all the doctors, nurses, other frontline workers and all those who got vaccinated and made this possible. Even though the country has achieved this feat, we caution our listeners that the battle against COVID is not yet over. We appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and also help others get vaccinated. During the festival season, please follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing. Focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact National Helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today emphasized that the unity and centrality of ASEAN has always been an important priority for India. Participating in the 18th India-Asean Summit virtually at the invitation of Brunei, the Prime Minister asserted that the special role of ASEAN is embedded in India's Act East policy and security and growth for all in the region, Sagar.
आसियान की यूनिटी और सेंट्रलिटी भारत के लिए सदैव एक महत्वपूर्ण प्राथमिकता रही है। आसियान की यह विशेष भूमिका भारत की एक्ट ईस्ट पॉलिसी, जो हमारी सिक्योरिटी एंड ग्रोथ फॉर ऑल इन द रीजन यानी सागर नीति में निहित है। भारत के इंडो पैसिफिक ओशन इनिशिएटिव और आसियान के आउटलुक फॉर द इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र में हमारे साझा विजन और आपसी सहयोग का ढांचा है।
Mr. Modi said due to COVID-19 pandemic, people faced a lot of challenges. He said this challenging time was also a test of India-ASEAN friendship. The Prime Minister said India-ASEAN relations withstood the test of time during the COVID period.
COVID-19 महामारी के कारण हम सभी को अनेक चुनौतियों से जूझना पड़ा, लेकिन यह चुनौतीपूर्ण समय भारत आसियान मित्रता की कसौटी भी रहा। कोविड के काल में हमारा आपसी सहयोग, आपसी संवेदना भविष्य में हमारे संबंधों का बल देते रहेंगे, हमारे लोगों के बीच सद्भावना का आधार रहेंगे।
Mr. Modi highlighted India's efforts in the fight against the pandemic in the region. He also reiterated support for ASEAN's initiatives in this regard. India has contributed medical supplies worth $2 lakh to ASEAN's humanitarian initiative for Myanmar and $1 million for ASEAN's COVID-19 response fund. The Prime Minister announced that the year 2022 would be celebrated as the ASEAN-India Friendship Year to mark 30 years of the partnership.
वर्ष 2022 में हमारी पार्टनरशिप के 30 वर्ष पूरे होंगे। भारत भी अपनी आजादी के 75 वर्ष पूरे करेगा। मुझे बहुत हर्ष है कि इस महत्वपूर्ण पड़ाव को हम आसियान भारत मित्रता वर्ष के रूप में मनाएंगे। भारत आगामी अध्यक्ष कंबोडिया और हमारे कंट्री को कोऑर्डिनेटर सिंगापुर के साथ मिलकर आपसी संबंधों को और गहन बनाने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध है।
Building upon the synergies between the ASEAN outlook for the Indo-Pacific and India's Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative, Prime Minister Modi and the ASEAN leaders welcomed the adoption of the India-Asean Joint Statement on Cooperation for Peace, Stability and Prosperity in the region. The discussions also covered regional and international issues of common interest and concern, including South China Sea and terrorism. Both sides noted the importance of promoting a rules-based order in the region. The leaders affirmed the importance of maintaining and promoting peace, stability, safety and security in the South China Sea and ensuring freedom of navigation and overflight.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a 5-day visit to Italy and the United Kingdom tonight to attend the 16th G20 Summit and the World Leaders Summit of COP26. During the first leg of his visit, Mr. Modi will reach Rome in Italy to participate in the G20 summit from the 30th to the 31st of this month at the invitation of Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi. The summit will be attended by heads of state of G20 member countries, the European Union and other invited countries and international organizations. Briefing the media in New Delhi today about the visit, Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla said the G20 summit is centered around the theme of people, planet, prosperity.
Italy's theme for its presidency is People, Planet, Prosperity. It actually comes from the 2030 UN Agenda for Sustainable Development. There are 5 Ps here, but Italy has chosen to retain the 3 Ps as being the theme for the G20 summit. And the focus of Italy is on recovery from the pandemic and strengthening global health governance, economic recovery and resilience, climate change and energy transition, and sustainable development and food security. India fully supports the priority areas chosen by Italy.
Mr. Shringla added that India has been a strong advocate in the G20 for supporting equitable and affordable access to COVID-19 disease control tools.
We have been a strong advocate in the G20 for supporting equitable and affordable access to COVID-19 disease control tools, including vaccines, therapeutics and diagnostics, through technology transfer, diversification of supply chains and production hubs. As a result of our efforts, the G20 has recognized that extensive vaccination is a global public good. And I have to again emphasize that this has been our contribution in the G20 lexicon that would be evident at the summit.
From Rome, the Prime Minister will leave for Glasgow to attend the World Leaders Summit of the 26th Conference of Parties, COP26, to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. The high-level segment of COP26 will be held on the 1st and the 2nd of next month. It will be attended by heads of state of more than 120 countries. The Foreign Secretary said the countries will work to achieve the completion of the Paris Agreement implementation guidelines, mobilization of climate finance, and action to strengthen climate adaptation, among others. On being asked if India will offer food grains to Afghanistan, Mr. Shringla said India has been forthcoming on the issue of humanitarian assistance and will be responsive to the situation if current circumstances are prevalent in doing so. Our correspondent has filed this report on the visit.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold several bilateral meetings, including with his Italian counterpart, on the sidelines of G20 summit. He will also call on Pope Francis at the Vatican. In Glasgow, Mr. Modi will deliver a national statement at the World Leaders Summit of COP26. Another important event will be the launch of Global Green Grids initiative under the vision of One Sun, One World, One Grid. Besides, Mr. Modi, along with Australian and UK Prime Ministers, will launch a new initiative for infrastructure for resilient island states. Several bilateral meetings are also in the pipeline on the sidelines of COP26, including with UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Divakar, AR News, Delhi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said he will highlight the need to comprehensively address climate change issues, including equitable distribution of carbon space and the importance of sustainable lifestyles for green and inclusive growth at the World Leaders Summit during COP26. In his departure statement ahead of his visit to Rome and Glasgow later tonight, Mr. Modi said that the COP26 summit will also provide an opportunity to meet with all the stakeholders, including leaders of partner countries, innovators and intergovernmental organizations, and explore the possibilities for further accelerating clean growth. Mr. Modi said he will share India's excellent track record on climate action and achievements in the World Leaders Summit.
Home Minister Amit Shah chaired the meeting in New Delhi today of the Consultative Committee of the Ministry of Home Affairs on the subject of coastal security. Addressing the meeting, Mr. Shah said that as per the guidelines of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Department of Border Management has been working over the last few years in the direction of further strengthening of coastal security, and more can be done with suggestions received from all. Mr. Shah said that the Home Ministry is seriously assessing the challenges being faced in coastal security. In a significant boost to the maritime safety and security of the country, the indigenously built Indian Coast Guard ship Sarthak at Goa was dedicated to the nation today. The ship will be based at Porbandar in Gujarat and operate on India's western seaboard under the operational and administrative control of the Commander, Coast Guard Region Northwest.
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says ASEAN's unity and centrality always important priority for India. Asserts India-Asean relations withstood the test of time during the COVID period. Prime Minister to embark on a 5-day visit tonight to attend 16th G20 Summit in Italy and World Leaders Summit of COP26 in the United Kingdom. Supreme Court clears the way for National Testing Agency to declare results of Neet UG 2021 examination. Government extends COVID-19 restrictions in the country till the 30th of November. Over 104 crore doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. Recovery rate stands at 98.20%. Centre releases 44,000 crore rupees to states and union territories to meet GST compensation shortfall. India and Asian Development Bank signed $251 million loan for integrated urban flood management in Chennai. And in T20 Cricket World Cup, Australia clash against Sri Lanka in Super 12 match at Dubai. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back. You're listening to the evening news. The Supreme Court today cleared the way for the National Testing Agency NTA to declare the results of the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test NEET Undergraduate 2021 examination by staying Bombay High Court decision to conduct fresh exams for 2 aspirants. The aspirants had complained in the court that they were handed question papers and answer sheets with different serial numbers. The court said there are 16 lakh students who are eagerly waiting for the results as the future was at stake, saying that there was no reason to withhold the results because of a complaint made by 2 students. The bench led by Justice L. Nageshwar Rao froze the High Court order, allowing the NEET results to be declared. The court scheduled the case for next hearing on the 12th of November to examine in detail whether there is any relief that could possibly be granted for the 2 students who had filed a plea in the court. Home Ministry has extended the COVID-19 restrictions across the country till 30th November this year to prevent any further spread of the pandemic. Earlier, the Ministry had asked states and UTs to focus on the 5-fold strategy of test, track, treat vaccination and adherence to COVID-appropriate behavior. States have also been asked to maintain utmost vigil in respect of mass gathering events to avoid any possibility of a surge in COVID-19 cases.
More than 104 crore 4 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. The Health Ministry said that a total of 16,156 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. The recovery rate is currently at 98.20%, which is the highest since March last year. Over 17,000 people recovered in the last 24 hours. in Delhi shows that 97% of the population have antibodies against COVID-19. Briefing reporters, Delhi Health Minister Satyendra Jain said a total of 280 wards were surveyed and 100 samples were collected from each ward. He said seroprevalence was higher in females with 90.1% as compared to males with only 88.2% positivity.
Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia today launched the 6th edition of the National Formulary of India to promote rational use of medicines in the country. Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission has published the National Formulary of India, NFI. Speaking at the event, Dr. Mandavia said that NFI will play a crucial role in daily clinical practices. Dr. Mandavia said that medicines behave differently in different bodies and it is important to know about the content, impact and side effects of medicines. Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh today addressed 75,000 farmers from 75 aspirational districts to commemorate the 75th year of India's independence at a mega event, Farmers Scientist Connect Meet. This was the first of its kind event in the country where farmers freely interacted with the leading scientists in agriculture sciences and technologies to adopt best farm practices and increase the farm output. Dr. Singh assured farmers that the unique initiative of the government headed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to find science-based agricultural innovations will not only double the farmers' income but will also make India the leading agricultural and scientific power in the world.
The Finance Ministry released 44,000 crore rupees to the states and union territories with legislature under the back-to-back loan facility in lieu of GST compensation. After taking into account the earlier release of 1,15,000 crore rupees, the total amount released in the current financial year is 1,59,000 crore rupees. The ministry said this release is in addition to the normal GST compensation being released every 2 months out of the actual cess collection. Subsequent to the 43rd GST Council meeting held on the 28th of May this year, it was decided that the central government will borrow 1,59,000 crore rupees and release it to the states and union territories to meet the resource gap due to the short release of compensation on account of inadequate amount in the compensation fund. The Government of India and the Asian Development Bank today signed a $251 million loan for climate-resilient, integrated urban flood protection and management in the Chennai Coastal Basin to strengthen resilience of Chennai city to floods. The agreement was signed between Additional Secretary in the Department of Economic Affairs, Rajat Kumar Mishra, and the Country Director of Asian Development Bank's India Resident Mission, Takeo Kunishi. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Mishra said the project interventions will help reduce the vulnerability of Chennai Coastal Basin residents to frequent floods.
Union Tourism and Culture Minister G. Kishan Reddy has said that the revival of the tourism sector is on the anvil and the central government will help tour operators and tourist guides impacted by the slowdown of the sector due to COVID pandemic. The minister was speaking on the sidelines of the Southern Region Conference of Tourism and Culture in Bangalore today.
The central government ministries of tourism have taken several measures to boost tourism, also encouraged investments in tourism sector. The initiations include a national tourism policy that we wish to unveil after close consultations with states and all stakeholders. Consultation to provide industry startups to various tourism projects, unsecured loans to tour operators and tourist guides who have been affected by the COVID pandemic times. And it is important that we come together and use this as an opportunity to rethink, regenerate and reinvent the tourism sector.
In Jammu and Kashmir, 11 people travelling in a minibus were killed while several others were seriously injured after the vehicle skidded off the road and fell into a deep gorge on Batod-Kishtwar highway in Doda district of Jammu division today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees each from the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund would be given to the next of kin of those who have lost their lives in the accident. The injured would be given 50,000 rupees. Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha also expressed grief and announced ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees each to the next of kin of those who have lost their lives.
China today said that its new land border law will not affect the implementation of existing border treaties or change the country's position on border-related questions. Beijing's response comes a day after India's Ministry of External Affairs expressed concerns about the legislation in view of a protracted military standoff between India and China along the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh. As our nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events is being organized by the government as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Now let's listen to a special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
Bharat Matar puja devi tale futeche je chhato dol nivedita name e jagot jane Bharat bhutal hi machal.
28th October is the birth anniversary of the revolutionary and social activist Sister Nivedita. Born as Margaret Elizabeth Noble in Ireland on October 28, 1867, she belonged to a family of revolutionaries. Her grandfather, John Noble, father, Samuel Richmond, and her maternal grandfather, Hamilton, were in the forefront of the Irish freedom struggle.
After completing her college education, she took to teaching for 10 years from 1884 to 1894. Sister Nivedita met Swami Vivekananda in 1895 in London and travelled to Kolkata in 1898. She became Swami Vivekananda's disciple, who gave her the name Nivedita, meaning dedicated to God, when he initiated her into the vow of Brahmacharya on the 25th of March, 1898.
During May to October 1898, Sister Nivedita went on a tour of Almora and Kashmir region, accompanying Swami Vivekananda. In Kashmir, she observed how the British government refused permission to the Maharaja to hand over a piece of land to her guru to set up a mutt and a Sanskrit college. She realized that the emancipation of India could be achieved only by putting an end to the British rule.
In March 1899, when plague raged in Kolkata, Sister Nivedita organized a group of young men and engaged herself in relief operations. She was seen in every slum in Bagh Bazar area with a broom in her hand, cleaning the streets. In the middle of June 1899, Nivedita left for England. Later, she went to America on a lecture tour with a view to raise funds for her school.
During her visit to Boston, she met Bipin Chandrapal. When Sister Nivedita returned to England, she had to face the vile propaganda of British imperialists. But this only kindled the revolutionary spirit in her. In 1902, she came back to India. Upon her arrival in Chennai, she was accorded a grand reception, during which she proclaimed, "The people of India are fully competent, and no outsider has the right to advise or interfere in their affairs."
Her speech won her admiration, but aroused the anger of the British, who blacklisted her. The Nivedita Girls' School in Kolkata, run by her, was a brilliant example to nationalist institutions all over the country. Sister Nivedita refused to take government aid for the school. She introduced Bande Mataram in the daily newspapers of her school at a time when singing of the patriotic song in public was an offence. She also introduced Swadeshi and the spinning wheel in the school.
In 1902, when Viceroy Lord Curzon appointed the University Commission to strangulate the national education system, Sister Nivedita came to the forefront in protest against the move. From 1906 to 1907, she remained busy with her journalistic work.
Besides writing editorials for the publication Prabuddha Bharat, she was also contributing to journals like Sandhya, The Dawn and New India. In 1907, she left for England to set a favourable atmosphere for the Indian independence through meetings and interviews with British parliamentarians and writings in English journals. Sister Nivedita organized the publication of revolutionary journals from outside India and arranged for their secret distribution in India. She also organized Indian revolutionaries scattered abroad.
When Sister Nivedita returned to India in 1909, most of her associates were in jails. She passed away on 13th October 1911 at the age of 43 in Darjeeling. Her memorial is located on the way to Victoria Falls of Darjeeling with these words inscribed in her epitaph. Here lies Sister Nivedita, who gave her all to India. That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
In our news magazine program, Parikrama tomorrow, a special roundup of patriotic films and songs that lifted the spirit of Indian freedom movement. Azadi Ke Tarane will be broadcast at 4:45 p.m.
स्वाधीनता आंदोलन के दौरान भारतीय जनमानस को उद्वेलित कर स्वतंत्रता का अलख जगाने और मातृभूमि के प्रति सेवा, समर्पण और त्याग की ज्वाला प्रज्वलित कर देने वाले अमर गीतों पर आधारित विशेष कार्यक्रम आजादी के तराने सुनना न भूलें। FM गोल्ड 100.1 मेगाहर्ट्ज पर प्रत्येक शुक्रवार शाम 4:45 पर परिक्रमा कार्यक्रम के अंतर्गत आजादी के तराने सिर्फ आकाशवाणी पर।
In the T20 Cricket World Cup, Sri Lanka were 128 for 5 in 17 overs against Australia in the Super 12 match at Dubai when reports last came in. Earlier, Australia won the toss and elected to field. All India Radio is broadcasting ball-by-ball commentary of the World Cup matches. Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have mainly clear sky. The temperature will vary between 16 and 29 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have mainly clear sky. Chennai is expected to have generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Jammu, Srinagar, Leh and Gilgit will have mainly clear sky. Muzaffarabad will have probability of thunderstorms. Guwahati will have fog in the morning and mainly clear sky later. Most of the other northeastern cities including Imphal, Shillong, Kohima, Itanagar and Gangtok will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder and lightning. Aizawl will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Visakhapatnam will observe a minimum temperature of 26 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 33 degrees. In Puducherry, there will be generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Bangalore will have fog in the morning and partly cloudy sky later. And Thiruvananthapuram will have generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain and thunder showers. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says ASEAN's unity and centrality always important priority for India. Asserts India-Asean relations withstood the test of time during the COVID period. Prime Minister to embark on a 5-day visit tonight to attend 16th G20 Summit in Italy and World Leaders Summit of COP26 in United Kingdom. Supreme Court clears the way for National Testing Agency to declare results of Neet UG 2021 examination. Government extends COVID-19 restrictions in the country till 30th November. Over 104 crore doses of COVID vaccine administered in the country so far. Recovery rate stands at 98.20%. Centre releases 44,000 crore rupees to states and union territories to meet GST compensation shortfall. India and Asian Development Bank signed $251 million loan for integrated urban flood management in Chennai. And in T20 Cricket World Cup, Australia clash against Sri Lanka in Super 12 match at Dubai. And with that we end the evening news. Good night.